Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So, if you know anything about me, you know that my favorite line of Thomas merch is of course the Play Rail. I mean, it's so iconic, it's one of the most playable toys ever because they can freewheel and you can move them back and forth or flip the switch and they move automatically. Endless playability. However, another line that I grew up with is Take Along. Now, this is not the Thomas I owned when I was a kid. That one is long gone. But it is a Thomas that I bought fairly recently. Or I think a friend gifted me this. But yeah, I love Take Along. Take Along and Take and Play were some of my favorite pieces of Thomas merch when I was a kid. These things, they have their issues. But then again, what doesn't? And I'm just going to say this quite bluntly. I don't own very many of them. But from what I have owned, I think I can safely say Ertl is not nearly as good as Take Along. Or Take and Play. I think the proportions on the Take and Play and Take Along models were way better than these things. I mean, the couplings didn't connect. You can't connect the couplings to the two other engines. Faces aren't really that great. No. Ew. But Take Along, yeah, I love that stuff. Even to this day, I still have a decent collection of Take Along. However, if there's one Thomas range that I didn't really have growing up, nor really have an interest in having when I was growing up, it'd be Wooden Railway. I never owned any Wooden Railway when I was a kid. In fact, my first exposure to Wooden Railway, aside from YouTube, was my cousin who handed me down a wooden starter set that had a Thomas, a Percy, and a red brake van, which has since been repainted into one of Jacob's coaches, but all of those engines are long gone now. I have since gotten a few more models, but purely for customization purposes with Trackmaster engines. Like this old slow coach over here. I bought this specifically so that I can get a 3D printed shell of old slow coach and then put this face on it because I really want an actual licensed face. It's like, because honestly, ever since I put this Wooden Railway Scruffy face on my custom Trackmaster Scruffy, I've been really interested in getting Wooden Railway models to put their faces on Trackmaster customs, because people may criticize the scaling of this face, but it looks beautiful. Anyway, back to Wooden... Oh. Sorry. Back to Wooden Railway. I never owned a lot of it when I was young. And I think most of the reason for that is because they weren't sold everywhere. Like, you could find Trackmaster and Take Along basically wherever toys were sold back in the day. Like, you could find them at Walmart, Target, Kmart. Remember that place? Toys R Us. Remember that place? Yeah, you could find them basically wherever toys were sold. Wooden Railway, on the other hand, was kind of harder to track down. They really only had them at a select few stores, like hobby shops and Toys R Us back in the day. Man, I miss Toys R Us. But anyway, yeah, I didn't own a lot of them, and I still don't. But if there's one thing that I like about wooden railway engines, it's that they fit on the Trackmaster track that I have. Because of their shorter wheelbases, take-along engines don't. Like, as you can see right here, Thomas's wheels kind of bounce from one side of the track to the other because these tracks were not made for him. They weren't made for the wooden engines either, but they're a similar scale, so they do fit. So, I'm sure you're probably wondering, what would it look like if these two merch lines actually collided, like became one? Well, what if I told you that there was a brief period in time where they did make a Thomas line that was basically take and play or take along and wooden railway merged together? May I introduce you all to what I think is one of the most obscure pieces of Thomas merch I have ever seen. This is the Interactive Learning Railway Thomas. Yeah, that's a mouthful. But basically what it is the take and play model, but really, really buff. And with the proportions of a wooden railway engine. It also has the same magnet system as Take Along. And for all of you today, I don't just have the Thomas. I also have Percy and Toby. I unfortunately don't have Gordon, Henry, or James. They didn't make a lot of engines for this line, but they did make these three, and they also made Gordon, Henry, and James. I don't own them yet, but I plan on doing it sometime soon. I've also been considering maybe making a custom Edward and Duck by using the take-along bodies on wooden railway chassis. Let me know if you guys want me to do interactive learning railway customs of some of the engines they didn't make. But basically what this is, I don't even know the context behind why these exist. Apparently, wait, what year does the wheel say? I don't see a date on any of these wheels. The chassis says 2004, so I'm going to go off the assumption that it's 2004. So sometime in 2004, I guess Learning Curve decided these would be a decent thing to do. Learning Curve is also the same line that made Take Along and Wooden Railway. I think Learning Curve made Take Along first, and then they gained the rights to Wooden Railway, but I don't fully know the story behind that. My Thomas is dated 2002, in case you were curious. So sometime after, where is he? Sometime after Ertl was canceled and stopped being produced, Learning Curve made these toys called Take Along. And I don't know the full story behind it, but I guess sometime in 2004, they wanted to make a buffer version of these that ran on wooden railway tracks. I haven't fully dived into this line yet because I don't have any of the play sets, nor do I have the three other engines. But they have these little things on the bottom, and I don't fully know what these are for. I think they talk to you or something like that, but I'm not fully certain. These things literally are just, what if Take Along hit the gym? Like, this is basically Take Along after hitting the gym. Now, one thing that I'm sure that you're probably wondering is, why is the coupling system different? Well, I'm glad you asked. Bringing up wooden railway once again. Wooden railway engines have a very strange coupling system. They only connect one way. They connect back to front and front to back. You cannot connect an engine face to face. See, they literally don't do it. The magnets repel each other. You also can't connect an engine back to back. You see that. They don't join unless you do it this way. However, take along... Oh, I just threw this thing. Take along is... Hold on. I gotta get another piece of rolling stock for take along. Alright. Say hello to the Sodor Rescue Co. fire station truck thing. Because that's just what I had on hand. But the way the take-along coupling system works is they have what's called the smart magnet system. The magnets do not polarize, so you can connect an engine however you feel like it. You can see that? You can connect an engine however you want. With the interactive learning railway engines, they have the smart magnet system. Meaning, unlike wooden railway, you can connect the engines to each other however you so wish to do so. See? They connect basically however you want them to. And one thing I thought was interesting about the smart magnet system is it's still compatible, I think. Yeah, it's compatible with regular wooden railway as well. In very much the same way. Even with regular engines, interactive learning railway still connects the same way it does to its own engines, and I assume to take a walk. You may see there's like a little bit of polarization, but then when they connect, they don't disconnect pretty easily. So, these things are very interesting. I really don't know why these things exist. Like, they're neat novelties, I guess, but I don't know why they exist. But me saying that's not me saying I dislike these things. These things are really cool. I really don't regret buying them. I mean, I've had them for a while now, and I just sort of wanted to make a discussion about them because, like, I think a lot of fans don't even know these exist. And yet, they're probably some of the most interesting pieces of merchandise the Thomas series has ever made. So, let's look at each one individually. So, here's Thomas. We've shown him off a fair bit today. The one complaint I do have with him is that his running board is a bit too flat. I would maybe like it if they did the take-along thing, where the running board has major dips at each end. This one is technically more accurate to the show because it has a little dip in the front and no dip in the back. But I think for an engine like this, it would be beneficial to just give him the back dip, at least for the toy. So that's Thomas. Here's Percy. who actually arrived to me broken. His face had just like popped off completely. So right now I've just got a bunch of blue tack in there just holding the face on. But aside from that, this Percy is really nice. Like, this thing is, I don't have a take-along Percy on me at the moment, but take-along Percy is basically exactly like this. So it's basically just a buffer Percy. And then we have Toby, who I do have a take-along of. In fact, if you watch my earlier videos, you may remember that before I got Player L Toby, who is chilling over there by the station, before I got him, I did use a take-along Toby in my videos. Then I got my Player L one, and he's been what I use ever since. But this is very short compared to that version of Toby. Like, his face is about the same size you'd expect it to be, but these windows should be way higher, and this gap should be a bit bigger. Actually, pretty interestingly, a lot of modern Toby merchandise does him that way, with like the huge face and the small windows and gap above the head. So in a way, this is sort of foreshadowing for the future of Thomas merch. I don't have any examples on me right now, but that's basically what this is. Surprisingly, he only has 4 wheels, but then again, I guess Wooden Railway did that for the longest time too. So, yeah, that's basically the interactive learning railway engines. But I just find it so baffling that these could even exist. Like, there's lots of rolling stock I need to get to, as well as Gordon, James, and Henry. But I think just on these 3 alone, there is hours of discussion time. You could spend hours discussing these things. Like, these things are so confusing to me. Because why do they exist? What purpose do they have? I mean, they're really dang cool. But is the cool factor alone enough to justify these? I mean, obviously, if you can get your hands on these, pick them up. These things are gold. Like, these things are fantastic. If you can get your hands on one, yeah, pick it up, because I guarantee these things are really obscure and hard to find. So, if you could get one of these for a decent price, I would say just snag it and put it in a display case. I probably will not do that because I can't afford a display case. But for all 3 engines, I spent like $40. The resale market for these nowadays, seems to go like $30 per engine because they're just so hard to find. So the fact I found all 3 of these engines for $40 is pretty insane. May have overpaid just a little bit, but because I'm sure these sold back in the day for like $20, for like $20 to $10 to $20. But in terms of the resale market, these things are hard to find. Like, I have yet to find a decently priced listing for James Gordon or Henry. Though I think it's going to be a while until I can get my hands on those, but I would love to, because this is a collection I'd love to build. Like, these things are wacky, but I love them. Also, I was going to end the video here, but since we're on the topic of obscure merch lines. Hold on, I'm trying to find them. Shoot, I can't find him. Anyway, so if there's any interest in this type of video, I might do a video someday on these things that I just found that I found during a yard sale. Because I do have Thomas as well. He's around here somewhere. But this thing is really interesting. I would love to talk about these someday because, yeah. Is there any interest in people talking about obscure merch lines? Because if there is, I will totally do a series about obscure merchandise. Starting with these things, because these things are great. But, yeah, I love these things. So, let me know in the comment question. Would you like to see any more obscure merch lines talked about on this channel? Because I'd love to do that. It might be hard to get certain models, but I'd see what I could do. Because, like, there's certain models out there that just are screaming and begging to be talked about. Not just for Thomas, even. There's so many obscure merch lines for, like, everything I like. So, if you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments below. And I guess for now, that's basically all I have to say about these things. But I hope it's enough to get a discussion going. Like, I think these things are worthy of discussion. So, yeah, if anyone wants to talk about these, feel free to, like, start a discussion in the comments. Let's get people talking about the Interactive Learning Railway. These things are worth discussion. Like, how have people not talked about these yet? Literally, two of Thomas's most popular merch lines came together in a crossover, and no one ever talks about these. So, yeah, if people want me to talk about more of these, I will definitely do that, because obscure merch lines are just so fun to talk about. Because there's always so little, and there's always either so little information or so much fascinating information. So, yeah, let me know in the comments, and I guess I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!